A huge problem with this day and age, in our opinion, is that the corporations have a lot of power and no sense of ethics or how to responsibly use that power. The only duty they seem to have is their fiduciary duty to shareholders, and that necessarily regards everyone else as a mindless number on a clipboard that they want to make go up, without any care for the circumstances that surround such a rise. Now, we're not a marketer or a businessman. We have no formal college experience, and we obviously don't know anything about how to make a profitable venture, or, we wouldn't have been homeless for the last 7 years and counting. We don't suspect anyone to think that we are an authority on business or how to run a corporation. That being said, we do know some things. Culture is a big thing. We know things about culture. We like things about culture, and growing up, we realized that return customers are very important to business culture. Not because they're important as individuals, but because loyal word-of-mouth marketing is the strongest form of advertisement, and it is very important to those companies that their customers can honestly say, I've been shopping here for X number of years. If you can get somebody to say they've been shopping there for 5 years, that's great. But if you can get a customer to shop for 10 years, even better. 20 years? Huge Walmart cred. You see where this is going. If you're lucky and you play your cards right as a business, you might even be able to convince people to get their children to shop at your store. And then, of course, you may be able to keep them using the same methods and so on. This is a huge factor for business longevity. The lifespan of your venture depends on you being able to pull in repeat customers alongside the new random people that swing by on occasion just because they need to get some eggs or a tune-up or something. In most companies, it's over after that. You've kept the customer for 1 more or 2 more or however much you plan to have them, and maybe they've brought in other customers, but you don't need to take a personal interest in their lives or health or well-being. That is unprofitable. Or is it? We're here to make a case for an economic reason to back socialist policies by pointing out the profitability of funding progressive technologies rather than directing extra money to the executives, and it won't even be that much money, we assure you. First and foremost, we are obviously going to be only talking about the profits in a company. We have no agenda to stop companies from meeting their bottom line. We don't even want to make the companies themselves spend any money. The goal of being part of the market is to make money. So the idea behind this article is to make the companies money. And no, this isn't some get-rich-quick scam or whatever. Companies will have to make tiny sacrifices, but those sacrifices will pave the way for a more beneficial future for everyone, especially that sexy bottom line. First and foremost, public healthcare in every way benefits the corporate world. If healthcare is socialized, it means that the companies are required to pay less for their own employees' well-being. A smart employer, with their mind on the future and the intention of keeping their business a well-oiled machine, is absolutely incentivized to make sure that their employees are kept in tip-top shape. On the government's dime. We cannot understand why people don't embrace this idea. Sure, you'll have to pay a bit more in taxes, but it will be pennies on the Benjamin when you account for the entire hulking mass that is the American economy paying in as well. Don't worry, this will only elongate the working life and productivity of your employees. Furthermore, embracing the progressive ideology of socialized healthcare will endear you to your employees and ensure higher workplace loyalty, maintaining a population of workers that are inclined to recommend family and friends to work and shop at your particular company. Not only does this bring lifetime customers, but expands your work pool. So, we've established in very brief terms why socialized healthcare is good for the private sector. It might seem like you're getting scrubbed for something that you don't see the value in, but you have to understand that you'll pay far less in accident settlements in the future if you at least pretend to care about the well-being and health of the average person in society, which includes your employees. Moving on, how about we take this socialized healthcare scenario to the greatest extreme we can personally think of? The SENS Research Foundation is dedicated to the science of aging, stopping it, and age-related diseases. Keep that in mind. In the long term, a company has to accept that return customers can only return for so long. Or can they? Consider if we shaved off just 0.5% off of the average Fortune 500 company's executive bonuses. Can we get $1 million out of, say, Walmart's board of directors through this method? We bet we could get several tens of millions, to be honest. So we'll take that money and pour it directly into a foundation that dedicates itself to elongating human life and quality of life like SENS. SENS, having you and your company to thank for such amazing gains in medical science and the science of elongating human life thanks you publicly for it, and henceforth you're known as the company that really actually helped the human race live to 150. Then it stops becoming, I've been shopping here for 30 years, and starts becoming, I've been shopping here for a century. While you're at it, their children also have been shopping there for that long, and their children, and their children. You've started stacking generations. It's not good enough in the world of unlimited economic growth to simply accept the death of the customer, you see. It isn't enough merely to accept being happy with their children and grandchildren. When a customer dies, you never get that customer back. Think of the long-term profits you're losing because of that. Think of the competition, of how that money is going to the funeral home establishment now instead of your tills. Clearly this won't do. Immortality tech it is. So long as it doesn't get in the way of the overhead, we're pretty sure that the average executive can do without his 6th pool or 4th yacht or whatever. Considering that the long-term benefits of having a population of 100-year customers will buy dozens more of those things over the course of time. You are absolutely incentivized to elongate the lives of both your customers and your employees to ensure a constant consumer and employee base that lasts through the generations. Many companies these days are so concerned with the next fiscal quarter that they don't seem to understand that sustainability itself is the true profit maker. If you sacrifice 1% of your yearly profit to exist for 100 more years, obviously that makes you more money over time by leaps and bounds, and you can logically accept a small loss to your overall profit in the short term. Not a loss to the company money as a whole, for the record, merely a sacrifice to your total profit at the end of the present fiscal year. You'll still be making profit, just a % or 2 less than you might have wanted. Company longevity is key, folks, not quarterly gains. It doesn't matter how rich Walmart gets this year if it collapses under its own tremendous girth next year. If we take that to its logical extreme, we should therefore always aim to make small sacrifices in quarterly gains to ensure huge gains in company longevity and maintenance, and thus greater profit over time. We don't need to get really big really fast, just pretty big sorta fast for a lot longer than anybody else. So now you can see how it only endears society to you to have society's best interest in your main public focus. That includes your employees. Pay them fairly, include noteworthy benefits that actually matter, and encourage them to recommend other potential employees, support public healthcare, and donate to medical institutions that actively expand medical technology for the greatest number to increase quality and length of life. This way, you gain the potential to maintain return customers for not merely years, but decades and beyond. Along with that, you start stacking entire generations of customers on top of each other, actively multiplying your consumer base every 20 years or so. The best thing about this kind of company ideology is that it truly is unlimited. The only limit to enriching society for profit is the boundaries of society itself, which you can gladly expand with the amazing long-term profits you brought in by these gentle sacrifices to the personal luxuries of your board members. Furthermore, with expansion into the digital space, this starts becoming a factor that is not strictly limited by society at all, but rather by data. So it looks like your company has every incentive, not unlike Amazon, Google, or Microsoft, to start expanding the internet and how information technology runs. Maybe a small portion of that Christmas bonus spread around to all the directors could be spent to invest into a small tech grant, encouraging up-and-coming computer scientists to dedicate their projects to your cause. The more bits you have on your side, the more potential information you can throw at the market to ensure that everyone knows that you are the goodest company in the world, and that you are not merely woke, but rather understand the true fiscal opportunities behind making the world a better place. Sure, you're making shit tons of money, but that doesn't matter. What matters is how easy and affordable you've made it for the average American to interface with someone in the Congo through all potential language barriers, religious differences, and class divisions. That way, you can get your customers to recommend you to people all over the world. At every stage, the advancement of progressive ideals and humanitarian technologies gives way to immense profits and considerable business opportunities. If you seem to be losing money on last year's product, so be it. Throw it away. Recycle it and use its materials to build the next generation of good for the world. If there's anything that this article should have taught you by now, it is this. Progress is never unprofitable to those who responsibly cultivated it. Because if your company were to dedicate money into making all of society a better place, that necessarily includes your company in that better place. If everything is better for everyone, that means everything is better for you and your bottom line. Thank you.